yesterday's price is not today's price.
Welcome, ladies and gentlemen. You could have been anywhere in the world, but you're here with us. This is the Maverick Podcast. I'm your host, DJ Maverick. Today, we got the super talented Loudmouf Beats in the building. Welcome to the podcast.
Yes, sir. Appreciate it. Thank you very much. Thank you.
Man, I'm super hyped. I've been checking out all your stuff. Before we dive into everything, for the 1% of the people out there that don't know who you are, tell us a little bit about yourself.
Oh, man. Well, I go by Loudmouf Beats. I'm a producer. I'm a producer, engineer out of Oklahoma City. I've been making music for a long time. I had to take a break for a while. But, you know, I'm back at it now, and I'm just out here trying to get clients, show people what I can do, make this music, and live my life. You know what I mean?
Yeah, for sure. I was reading sort of your background. It sounds like at an early age, one of your teachers told you you had a perfect pitch, right?
Yeah.
Tell me about that.
Yeah. I had this teacher. Her name was Mrs. Barnes, and anybody knows me, my memory is all messed up. So if I can remember anybody's name from way back then,
that's a big influence,
something.
right?
Yeah. So she just took a liking to me because like I knew the music like forward and backwards, like whatever it was, I instantly remembered it, and she just knew that I had a talent for music, and she inspired. She motivated me. She wanted me to continue that throughout my life.
Okay, cool. So is that like the first time you discovered that you were good at music or into music, or how did you discover, hey, I kind of dig this music thing?
I just remember being in my room, like listening to Jackson 5 stuff, and like, cause my mom, she was a little bit older. So, you know, we didn't listen to a bunch of Mary J. Blige or nothing like that. It was more like oldies, like 70s.
Motown and stuff like that?
Motown, exactly.
Okay,
yeah.
cool.
And I just always took a liking to harmonies and just different groups that could really, like, you know, it was about talent back then. So
yeah, definitely.
it just always, you know, struck something with me. And I don't know, to this day, I just love music, man.
That's cool.
Yeah.
So my understanding along the way, you were also part of a rap collective.
I first got out of high school. I had this apartment, and my roommate, his cousin was kind of like the leader of 2XL, kind of like he was like the main rapper, the one down here doing stuff. His name was Dante Pompey, D-Lo, and he does battle rapping, and you know now he's putting out music on his own. But back then it was him, it was DJ Already, a few different rappers and producers, and I was just, you know, the guy's cousin's friend. And he came to the studio one time, and I've been recording artists since 2007, 2008.
Okay.
In my closet, and he came through one time. He freestyled his whole day at work, like to a beat that I already had playing in the studio. And like since then, I was like, bro, whatever you want to do, I'm with it. I'm with it.
So he came in and he was like ready, like just one take or what?
Like the way he is, you got to know who Dante is.
Yeah.
Like he just walked in and was like. He just started talking, and like he talks in rhymes.
That's awesome.
You know what I mean? It's like he's not even trying; it just happens.
Cool.
Yeah. So the way he did that, I was just influenced, and you know, I'm like, yeah, whatever you got going on, I'm trying to be a part of it, and that's where I started, like trying to make a name for myself as a producer.
Okay. Was that kind of your first entry point into music, or did you try like I don't know DJing or performing or something before then?
No, I always was a producer.
Okay.
And I had friends in high school who were making beats on Fruity Loops, and they would bring their laptop to school with them and like be making beats while we're in class and math class and whatnot. And I remember like, yo, what's he doing? Like, and then I remember other guys used to have like instrumental tapes, and I didn't know that was, you know, major producer tapes, but I just figured it was them making beats. So I was always interested, like, how do people even make beats? Like, being from Oklahoma, it's at least back then, it wasn't really a major pod for music.
Right.
You know what I mean? So I was just always curious, and I downloaded the free version of Fruity Loops back in like 2006 on my mom's computer, and it's been a rap since then.
That's cool. How did you start? Did you start like sampling, or did you start like just with like the out-of-box sounds that come with Fruity Loops, or what?
Yeah. I mean, I didn't know nothing about sampling. It was just whatever sounds were available on there, that's what I used. And you know, I figured out a way to sample later on, but people, you know, gravitated to what I was doing, just using the bass sounds in there.
That's cool. I was just curious because you mentioned Motown, and when I think of some of the biggest producers like Kanye or something, it's like a lot of Motown samples.
Yeah, for sure. Even today, there's a lot of, you know, sampling. That hip hop is based on sampling.
For sure.
Yeah. I mean, you know, any sound that you hear is gonna be a sample of something, most likely. Yeah.
Do you have like a good ear for like just like melodies, or how do you start like stacking up your beat with the drums first? Like walk me through that process.
Man, I don't know. It however I'm feeling that day. You know, I can start with a melody or I can start with the drum patterns.
Okay.
I'm very in tune with you know, whatever's hot. You know, whatever good music. I just listen to good music, and you know, I might start with sampling, trying to pull like a bar out of something, or I'll just have a feeling and I want to start with some fast hi-hats and throw an 808 on there and go from there. But yeah, it's kind of no blueprint for me. I just go.
Cool.
Yeah.
I like that. Walk me through that sort of musical influence. Like, you know, you mentioned Motown, but like as far as producers, who are some of the guys that you look up to?
Ooh, good question. I like Metro Boomin.
Okay.
Mike Will Made It, Kanye West, Pharrell, Timbaland, like, you know, the greats. As far as like beat makers, shit, man. You know, and then you got your producers, you know, as far as like Quincy Jones and then the newer guys like DJ Khaled. Like,
yeah. What do you think about Khaled? Because he's always like just kind of like the behind the scenes putting stuff together.
Well, that's
right?
why I brought him up with Quincy Jones, because that's what Quincy did. I mean, Quincy was a musician also. Yeah. But you know, at the end of the day, a producer is the guy who finds all the sounds and puts it all together.
Right.
I'm not a musician myself. I don't know how to play a piano. I can play my way through some drums. I can hear a song and play it out on the piano, but I'm not a musician. So I find the sounds that I like and I put it all together and, you know, produce a beat.
Yeah, I don't think a lot of people know that, right? Like they probably just see Khaled, like, who's this guy, middle of the song, he's like, we're the best. Right. And that's like all he does, right? Yeah, they don't know, like, even getting those people to be on the project, right? Like if you get Jay-Z or somebody on the project, that's like a lot. Like I don't know if anybody could just like get him on a project.
Oh,
like, he's like basically retired at this point.
You have to put that work in. Like Jay-Z is a guy who's not just gonna get on anybody's project. Yep. Even, you know, I don't know, has he worked with 2 Chainz yet? I know 2 Chainz was going through a thing like he can't get Jay-Z on a project. So but as far as producing goes and DJ Khaled, I give him all the respect that he deserves. Like I've seen him produce, I've seen him, you know, DJ, and I've seen him come up from that.
As far as like producers, I guess along the way, all the guys that you mentioned are like up at the top, right? And I think once you get up to the top, there's a lot of pressure. Like Timbaland's about to drop with Justin Timberlake again,
right?
And everybody's like, he better not fail, right? Like, do you feel like that? Like whenever you're doing a project, that you just got to like one up every project, or what?
I mean, for me, yeah, because, you know, at the stage I'm at, I have aspirations to go big. You know what I mean? So, but I feel like it's just to each his own. Whenever you get to a certain point, you know, there's producers that get that one hit and then you never hear from them again. Yeah. You know, Shawty Red produced a whole bunch of Young Jeezy stuff back in the day. Mm-hmm. He's not like a well-known producer nowadays, you know, but he's living off of the music that he made back then. So, I mean, for me, I want to get to the point to where I'm producing for artists like Future or even Drake, you know what I mean? But for me, I definitely need to up myself, you know what I'm saying? Yeah. It's just, you know, to each his own. That's how I feel. Whatever you're doing is however you measure your success is how you measure that.
Yeah, definitely. Mm. I just like, when I think about all those people, like every project just has to be like greater than the last one, right? So it's just like,
you can burn yourself out doing that for sure. I feel like, you know, but I feel like once you get a sound that's uniquely your sound, then, you know, you can go off of that for a while. Yeah. Metro done that for a while. Now with his latest project that he put out, it's a little different from anything I've heard before. But, you know, it wasn't just like year after year type of thing. It took him a while to get to that point to where now he's producing stuff that, you know, now he's producing stuff for movies, Spider-Man and stuff. So
right. One thing that makes me happy about all the beat makers nowadays is they all got their tag. Yeah. And it's like up front, you know who's like beat it is, right? Like back in the day, you would have to like go through the liner notes or something to see who even made it. Yeah. And now everybody has a tag, right? Like this is like Loudmouf Beats boy. Yeah, right?
Loudmouf boy. Yeah.
Who did that? Tell me about like kind of how you came up with the name and like your tag and everything.
Oh man. Okay, so Loudmouf ENT originally was made to be a record label. Okay. And I had an artist named Dutch Cargo. He had a girlfriend. His girlfriend had a kid, and we were doing a mixtape for Dutch Cargo, and we needed some tags, and we just had him go in the booth and say loudmouth boy.
He says it like he's like excited, like let's get to it, right?
The homie, he had to hype him up to do that. Like we probably did that 4 or 5 times before we got this loudmouth boy. Yeah. But
What about the meaning behind the name? How did that come about?
Man, so I had another production company called Boss Productions. And Boss was an acronym, stood for Business Over Stupid Shit. Okay, but the logo wasn't very attractive, and I was into business and marketing and how I can get more people to pay attention to what I'm doing, and I knew I needed merch for that, so I needed something that I could put on the T-shirt, and people would give it a double take.
Yeah.
The old one that I had for Boss Production was just a black boss with a microphone for the O, and it just didn't stand out. So I needed something different. I was going through some things. I took a picture of my mouth and drew it on a piece of paper. I still have the drawing.
So you like hand drew your logo?
I hand drew it. Yeah, and it was just the grill at first, the mouth and lips and all that. And I was like, I need to put the name in it somewhere. And I had the grill at 4 top, 4 and bottom. So I just figured out a name that would fit in it, and Loudmouth.
Got it.
Fit,
that's cool.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
And it was mouth. I'm drawing the mouth too, and it just kind of all came together. Kind of like an epiphany that I had.
That's cool. That's very cool. The one thing that we're talking about off camera is that I like kind of like how you put like different instruments and it's layered, but everybody has like room to breathe, right? Like I was talking about your guitars that you use oftentimes. Yeah. If you were to strip down those guitars, sometimes it sounds like it could just be like at a spa or something, right? Like just like some soft guitars. Yeah. But then you got the heavy drums, you got the heavy bass. Right. Like, is that kind of like your style, or like how would you describe your style?
I mean, I'm mostly influenced by trap music. But I love melodic music too. So, I mean, that's kind of how I blend all my stuff in too. Just the 808s. I think my 808s separate my music from other producers, and at least out here, you know what I mean? So
that bass was like tearing up my speakers. I was listening on the way, and it was just like it was drowning.
No, I've blown out my AirPods. I mix my music through the AirPods. It's a process.
That's interesting.
Yeah, I mix through the AirPods and the speakers and the headphones and the car. Like I listen to it in all different mediums to make sure it sounds good and everything that you would be listening to.
That's cool. Whenever I do a mixtape, I always take a ride in the car and listen to it in the car. I don't know what it is about the car, but that's like my favorite place to see if something sounds good.
Yeah, for sure. Because if it sounds good in the car, then it's gonna sound good anywhere else.
Yeah. A lot of people nowadays, like you said, AirPods, right? So,
right. That's why I do it in the AirPods, because I know most people listening to music in the AirPods. So I know if it sounds good in there, and it's real. What's the word? Direct. You know what I mean? It's like right there. So if you hear something that a pitch is too high or a frequency is too high, I can bring that frequency down, or if I can't hear like some lows in somebody's voice, I can bring it up. And it's really good to target somebody's vocal and get their vocal very key to where it's them. Yeah,
but if you're mastering for like the AirPods and you are having to like flatten some of those waves, does that take away when you're listening to in a bigger sound system?
I mean, that's I go back and forth. Literally, you can move something 0.2 decimals and make that much of a change, depending on what plugin that you're using and where you are in the sound in the song. There might be a drop where there's just vocal, and I drop the beat, and then I need to boost something in the vocal, or it just paying attention. I have an ear for listening to music. You know what I mean?
Yeah. So it sounds like it's just a balance of like trying to get as much frequency covered in every device that people might listen to your stuff at, right?
Sure. Yeah.
Okay. Cool. I like that. A lot of the stuff nowadays is super saturated too, right?
Right.
So it almost seems like they're doing it on purpose to get everything distorted, super saturated. That's kind of like a style in its own, right?
Yeah. There's you want to be distorted on purpose sometimes. Like if you go listen to the album, Loudmouf Radio Volume 1.
Yeah, plug it in.
Yeah.
It just dropped, right?
It just dropped July 12th.
Awesome.
Yes, July 12th. Yeah, July 12th.
Cool.
Anyway, it's out. You can go listen to it right now.
Yeah.
My dates might be off. But there's sometimes, like I think in Do the Fool with L1, there's some points where I distort the vocal on purpose because of what he said, or just to give you a break from what's already going on. I believe in people get tired of listening to the same type of track over and over and over again, even the sonics of it. So you want to break it up a little bit and just give them like that ear candy to say, oh, that was different. And then it can get right back to the music.
Okay, cool. Yeah, let's talk about that project. So that project, you got a lot of people, even KO, she was on the pod.
Yeah, shout out KO.
I was excited to see her. Shout out to her.
Yeah.
But tell me, how'd you go about like doing that? Because I've seen where people put a project together.
Yeah.
And you have to like kind of like fine comb, like, hey, I'm going to pick this artist, that artist.
Yeah.
How'd you go about that process?
So I was, when I had when Loudmouf was just the label, I was doing a lot of stuff for artists for free and never got anything back from it. Like I feel like I was being taken advantage of.
So like whole beats, you're just like on the
free beats,
really?
Free studio time, free music videos. Like
that
and
is
if it wasn't free, then I was paying for it out of my pocket.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? I was flying people out to come and give us the best quality, whatever. Sending stems out to different studios to get the best quality. That didn't work out for me. And then I had my daughter over there. Mm-hmm. I had my daughter, and music wasn't paying no bills or, nothing. I wasn't getting anything back from it. So I had to stop doing the music for a little bit. And I promised myself when I got back to it that I was going to make a name for myself. Mm-hmm. Instead of focusing on everybody else, I'm going to do what I can to make a name for myself so I can market myself. I still have the logo. It's still something that, people are interested in. So I just developed relationships with different artists and asked them, yo, if you don't have no plans for this song, or even if you do, is it okay that I use it first? Can I put it on my album? I'm thinking about putting out an album on my own.
Okay.
So, I'm inspired by Metro Boomin and Michael Made It, because they put out projects before they were as big as they are now. Yeah. They put out projects that they produced everything, but they had they homies who was like Future and Young Thug on their beats.
Right.
You know what I mean?
I like it. I think you should continue to do like just dropping like volumes.
Yeah.
Kind of like DJ Clue, DJ Drama. They do like their mixtapes.
Right.
I really like that. Is this like kind of like your first try at doing something like this, or have you done it in the past?
Yeah. No, this is the first one. Yeah. And I called it Volume 1 because I want to drop more volumes in the future.
That's cool.
Yeah.
Yeah, I really like that. I saw a lot of people. Are they all local, or did you get people from outside?
Everybody on the album I know personally. I've been in the studio with them. I recorded most of the album myself.
Okay.
Thomas, who he reached out on Facebook and said that he was looking for producers for his project. He was doing a song a week for a year straight, and he needed producers to help him do that. Mm-hmm. So I reached out when he made that post. And I got cool with him being in the studio. I met KO in one of his sessions. L1, who's on like 3 different songs, I've known him ever since I've known Dante from way back in 2XL. And other artists, I meet them, in the studio and just going back and forth and just trying to get this goal accomplished of spreading my name out there.
Yeah, I was listening to some of the songs on there, and the thing about all the tracks is they're all like a different vibe, right? Like
for sure.
I really like Thugga. Mm-hmm. I really like Can't Fold.
Yeah.
And Sirens. Like those were some of the ones that like stood out to me.
Yeah.
And they were all like different vibes.
Yeah,
so
for sure.
That was really cool.
There's a music video for Thugga right now. L1's in there. I'm in there. Sirens, but that was on the radio for the summer.
Yeah, you were telling me. How'd you get that on the radio?
I didn't have nothing to do with that.
No?
I had nothing. It was Thomas who he has a relationship with somebody at the radio station. I don't know exactly how it happened. He just asked me for a radio clean version of the song, and I sent it to him.
Cool.
And a little bit later, I heard it on the radio. So,
that's cool. How do you go about doing those clean versions? Because I remember back in the day, they would either like just reverse the word, or they'd just be like a blank, right? And like, how do you go about doing that?
I can do either or. Yeah. I can put a sound effect over the word. Okay. I can just drop it completely, or I can use Logic Pro. That's how I mix and master all my songs. Yeah. There's a way where you can like screw the voice out. Just being creative and using what you have available to accomplish that goal.
Going back to that, would you say that ear candy?
Yeah,
it's like changing it up to keep people engaged, right?
Right. Yeah, because I don't want to just drop it off every time. Yeah. Somebody drops an F-bomb. Sometimes you want to screw it out. Sometimes you want to, chop it or something. You might take the next line and then chop it before, and just playing with it, with it.
I remember some of the old school Juvenile albums. They would just drop it, and it wasn't even like listenable. It was just like every political second, just like a spot where it's like nothing's being said. It was not good.
Yeah, it was bad. I know exactly what you're talking about.
Yeah, it's like almost like not listenable. If you're not going to listen to the like just normal version, like don't even listen to it.
Yeah,
right?
No, I remember hearing some stuff on the radio, like they would just like skip the whole bar and like it'd be offbeat for the rest of the song. It's like, what are we doing here? Yeah. But yeah, man, things have changed a lot since then, for sure.
Yeah, for sure. So tell me, like, you know, you do engineering, you do also mixing, mastering. Like, tell me, like, everything you're into.
Man, I've been recording artists for a long time. I can't lie. I just recently got good at, like, mixing and mastering.
Okay.
Probably within the last year or so, to the point to where I feel like I can charge people to come by the studio.
That's like a whole art form in itself.
Yeah.
I mean, you talk about some of the greats, like, there's people that have like a unique like mastering where people go to them just for that alone, right?
And I'm doing that now. Like people come to my studio because they like my sound. They like you know, they'll record something with somebody else and you know, they're not too satisfied with what they have, or you know, they just don't know any other options until they run into me. And then, you know, it's kind of like I'm stealing customers at this point. Like they don't want to go work with anybody else but me because I have a particular sound. Yeah.
I mean, I think that's a good problem to have, right?
It is, like, for sure. Yeah. You know, I don't want no beef or no competition or nothing like that out there. Like, honestly, I've reached out to a lot of studios. I've reached out to, I don't want to drop any names, honestly, but I reached out and I want to work with studios, but it's like, you know, you have to come in and have a certain clientele, or, you know, just, I got to keep reaching out, and I'm just, you know, I'm too independent for all that. Like, I'll reach out maybe once or twice, but after that, I'll figure it out.
Are you like zoned in into hip hop, R&B, that sort of thing, or are you like open to doing like other genres?
I'm open to it, but you know, I can only really accomplish vocal recording at this point. You know, you can't come by and have a whole band or a guitar and drums and I can set you up. Now, if I was booked in the studio, then but I'm just recording at home right now, so. Whatever you have, if you have an instrumental and you just need to record your voice on it, I can take care of that.
Okay.
You know what I mean? So hip hop, R&B, soul, that's really what that's what I know. It's what I'm used to. But I'd be open to doing like alternative or pop, or, you know, just anything where I can record your voice. If you need to record a commercial for a podcast or get on the radio, like I can take care of that too. So
I like that.
Yeah.
What's been sort of the track that's gotten the most momentum so far?
Most people love Sirens.
Sirens, yeah. That was like the first one I think I mentioned to you too.
It was.
Like, that's on the radio.
Yeah. It was on the radio over the summertime, and that's the one that people love. Like, people are in my inbox like, Sirens is the one they love. Yeah. And when I heard it, like I remember listening to Thomas Who and KO like come up with the lyrics. I'm like, yo, this is gonna be a fire song. Yeah.
You have an ear for that? Because I know when music drops on Friday, I can just kind of scrub through tracks and be like, okay, this one's good. This one's gonna make it. Yeah. Do you have like an ear for that kind of stuff too?
Yes, sir. I can tell when something can get traction.
Yeah.
I don't know what the outcome's gonna be, obviously, but I can definitely hear something and be like, that's gonna be one of the ones. Yeah. Like when we made Thugger in the studio, we had the whole song recorded. And I'm sitting there mixing it, and L1 suggested that I threw auto-tune on his voice. And once I did that, I was like, this song is out of here.
That's awesome.
Crazy, yeah. I'm ready to do the music video at that point. I'm ready to take it as far as I can.
Cool. So you being sort of the producer, engineer, kind of behind the scenes, do you also get to participate in live events and like concerts, that sort of thing? Have you done some of that?
No, not recently. I mean, as closest to that I've gotten has been like when I had my label and I had artists, you know, I would, you know, reach out to different venues and try to get them booked at places. But as far as doing live sound or introducing artists or anything like that, no, I just, you know, I stay behind the boards and make my beats, and then I give it to the artist, and you do what you can with it.
Yeah, tell me about you and samurai swords. I hear there's a connection between you two there. You're like, let me take a drink first. I hear there's a story behind that.
Okay, yeah. So, to make a long story short, I was dating this girl. She invited me over to her place. This was a long time ago. This was right when I started making music.
Okay.
I met this girl going to a guy's house who, Anyway,
he wasn't aware. He wasn't aware of like you being with this girl, or
no.
what?
It wasn't anything like that. I met the girl at the trap house, basically.
Okay.
And we got cool with each other. She invited me to her house one day. I didn't know she had a boyfriend. She did have a boyfriend. She opened the door for me. I walked in, and then the door behind me closes. What? She's still standing in front of me. I'm like, what the fuck?
She didn't give you like these eyes, like warning, like don't come in or anything?
Okay. It was a setup from the jump. Like she invited me over with like dude there.
So on purpose she invited you?
On purpose.
It was a setup.
Yeah, I went to the house. This is why I got trust issues right now.
That's why I understand why you took a drink.
Man, I'm saying, I walked in, he closed the door behind me and like, I need you to have a seat, homie.
How big of a guy?
Not very big, but you a giant when you got a samurai sword in your hand. He had the samurai in his hand. And I was like, I need you to have a seat. And like put a bandana around my arm, like my like almost handcuffed me and sit me down. And apparently she was pregnant by his baby.
What?
Yeah, so he's sitting there like having a talk with me, like man to man type of talk. Mm-hmm. And
why? Just because you were in the DMs or something? Or
no,
or what?
Because like me and her, this was before social media.
Okay.
You know what I'm saying? Like I'm 34 years old, so this was before social media, and he I guess he had went through her phone and found out that she was talking to me.
Oh man.
Yeah, and had me sit down. He told her to pat me down to see if I had any cash on me. I had a bad feeling that day, so I took my cash out of my pocket and I put it because of the apartments that she, sent me the address for. Yeah, I knew it was a sketchy place.
A little sketch.
Yeah, so I put my money up before I even went inside, and lo and behold, like she tried to rob me. Man. And
that's crazy. A samurai sword though?
Yeah, I don't know.
Like who has like just a samurai sword like laying around?
That's threatening to me. Like you can pull a gun out in front of me and I'll be cooler than I was than a blade. Like I don't like being cut, sliced, like just the sound of being sliced. Man, that just sends chills down my spine. So
they didn't find any money and they're just like, okay, get out of here?
Yeah, he was like, don't mess with my girl no more. We're trying to build a family.
Man, that's so crazy. Jeez.
And even crazier, he told her to go to my car to see if I had any money in my car. But I hid it in a spot where I knew nobody was going to find it. So I went back to my car afterwards and she went through my car. Like I seen trash all over this place. And yeah, man.
How long had you known this girl before this whole setup?
It had been like 2 months. Like me and her talking, she'd been in my place a few times.
Everything
I'd never been
normal.
Everything was cool. Yeah. I seen her. I went to work. Like I met her at work one time. Like
you didn't notice she was like really into kung fu movies or anything like that? Like there wasn't any signs up front?
Not at all, man. Nuh-uh. And back then, if there was, I would have been all into that too. You know what I mean? Yeah. It was crazy, man.
That's
I
funny.
can't believe it. I've been through a few things like that. And these females, man,
it's dangerous.
They're very dangerous. You got to stay dangerous, sir.
Yeah. So tell me about growing up. Like, were you always like into music or did you do any sports or anything like that along the way?
Man, I tried basketball. I still love basketball, but I'm just not fit for basketball.
Okay.
I tried out every year in high school and never made the team.
Yeah.
I tried out in middle school and was good enough for JV because if you didn't make that, you were JV.
Right.
So I I've always loved music. I didn't know I loved making music until I started, my senior year. Mm-hmm. But I've always loved music. And it's crazy because people would tease me for listening to what I was listening to. Yeah. Which was like Disney pop bands.
That's what you listened to?
Backstreet Boys, NSYNC.
Really?
Yeah. Spice Girls. My sister loves Spice Girls. I was listening right with her. B2K later on. Like, It's something about harmonies, like hearing the different voices and coming together and making just I can get goosebumps listening to it. Like my hair will actually stand up listening to the perfect harmony.
So I'm a big believer in energy. So I'm going to say, let's put it out there. Top 5 collabs. Who do you want to collab with? Let's put it out into existence.
Top 5 collabs.
Yeah.
As far as me collabing with producers?
No, you making beats artists? For artists. Yeah.
And we talking about major.
Yeah. Okay. Let's dream big here.
I definitely want to work with Future. I want to work with Drake. I honestly already feel like I have a sound that both of them would appreciate. Man, Ludacris.
Okay.
I want to work with Ludacris for sure. One of my favorite rappers of all time. You said top 5?
Yeah. We got 3 so far. We got 2 more slots.
Let's see. Snoop Dogg. Because Snoop Dogg was my mom's favorite rapper.
Okay.
Damn, I don't know. Who else? Who else is out there? Anybody who's coming up. Like, you know, I also want to work with people. Don Toliver.
Okay.
Don Toliver's, I like a lot of Don Toliver's music.
Cool, cool. So out of the
Brent Fayez. I'm sorry, that's
okay, you like that? Yeah,
for sure, yeah.
Cool. So out of the new guys, like who would you put up there?
I would put Brent, I would put Don, Gunna.
Okay.
And I don't care about nobody's opinion about Gunna. I mean, you got to do what you got to do.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Especially if, you know, anyway, that's a whole nother topic. Gunna, I said Travis, Don, Brent Fayez. I don't think I said Travis. I would work with Travis Scott too.
Yeah. His beats are like real interesting. Half the time they like have a real big transition too, right? Are you a fan of that? Where it's like a super hard beat, then like a random transition,
and then it
like,
just switches.
Switches.
Yeah,
right?
I can do that. And Thomas, he actually like influenced me to do that one. Like the last song of his, it's called 52 of 52 on all streaming platforms. And I was working on the beat. He wrote to it, and then at the end of his verse, he was like, I need you to switch the beat. I'm like, what you mean switch the beat? And so I took the sample that I was using, I flipped the sample a little bit different, and then I put a whole new drum pattern on it. And, you know, that was my first beat switch that I ever did.
Okay.
So, yeah, I'd be into it for sure. Yeah,
That's cool. I think a lot of people usually just like drop out the drums or whatever, right?
Yeah.
But I think doing a whole like transition is kind of cool, and you can just take it a whole complete different direction, right?
Like Travis, I think he would use 2 different producers and like kind of blend their stuff together once you get through it one track, and it's like it's like 2 tracks in one basically. Yeah. That's
cool. We're talking like probably like 97% of the views I'm getting currently are not subscribed.
Yeah.
Right. So I would say, are you a big sort of believer of surrounding yourself with people that believe in your vision and kind of supporting yourself as well? Like, are you a big believer in that? Or do you think like, just, I'm going to keep my head down, trust the process? Because sometimes I'm like, come on, guys, like subscribe. Yeah. So definitely if you're checking us out, subscribe.
For sure. Subscribe on YouTube, Maverick FM. But I've tried that. I've been in the position to where I was around so many people that believed in what I was doing. Mm-hmm. And as soon as I left all that alone is when I started moving a lot better on my own. Okay. By keeping my head down and believing in myself. Because I feel like being around the wrong people will just hold you back. Yeah. And especially if everybody isn't on the same page as you, then, like I said, it'll just hold you back. So, yeah, do what you got to do. Believe in yourself. Put the work in order to build your confidence up.
Who would you say are some of your biggest supporters, like, from a day one perspective?
My daughter. I would say that. Maybe some close family. But besides that, I mean, yeah, there's some people that say they believe in you and whatnot, but, belief and then support is 2 different things. So I don't know. I'm just at a point right now to where, if you're gonna rock with me, then you gotta really show that. You know what I mean? I wasted so many years and so much time working with artists who I believed in, and I feel like I was being taken advantage of for most of the time. Yeah. Yeah.
What are your goals for the rest of the year? I know you mentioned you're going to, sort of grow out your studio engineering, that side of things as well, right? Like, what are some of your goals for the rest of this year?
Well, I want to be like a full-time engineer producer. I want to be able to quit both of my jobs.
You got 2 jobs.
I have 2 jobs, yeah. So I do all this music in between both jobs. Yeah. I want to be able to quit both jobs and work as a full-time engineer producer. And like in the past month, I've had people come by the studio and pay me a little money to do, to record them for an hour. That's and, cool. Mix and master their music. They might have a YouTube beat that they remade. I can charge them to do that too. But as far as the rest of the year, my goal is just to be as busy as possible, being an engineer and producing and making music.
Yeah. Yeah. being a producer, beat maker, engineer, it's all behind the scenes. So what's been some of the things that you've seen work to promote your business and promote yourself, right? Like you just like making content of what you're doing day to day, or how do you go about that?
Yeah. So like I try to stay up on my stories now. Recording, when I'm recording an artist, like today, if you go look, you'll see that I had an artist in the studio today before I came here. And really, since, it's on me to promote myself as a producer and engineer. Mm-hmm. When I called around and tried to get in, they like, well, what do you have out? And my purpose of putting out my album was to show people what I can do as a producer and as an engineer. I recorded almost the whole thing. I engineered almost the whole thing, and mixed and mastered almost the whole thing. I mastered the whole thing. Mixing and mastering is two different things.
Yep.
Yeah. I produced the whole thing myself, and that was the whole reason why I put it out. I want people to know, like, this is what I can do. This is what I'm capable of doing. And the artists that have been coming through lately, that's why they've been coming through. Mm-hmm. And other artists that I've been working with have been telling other, hey, this guy knows what he's doing, so you might want to hit him up. So
cool.
Yeah.
Do you know, like on the streaming platforms, is there a way to filter to say, hey, show me everything that Loudmouf has produced, even if it's not your project? Is there a way where it just like gives you a playlist? That would be kind of cool.
That would be dope, but I don't know of anything like that. Okay. I don't. And then a lot of the stuff that I did, like I just started making beats again in 2020.
Okay.
Yeah. But before then, the last beat I had made was maybe 2014 when my daughter was born.
I see.
Yeah.
Maybe it'd be cool to just create your own playlist and promote the playlist, and then you have everything, all your projects on that playlist. That might be a cool way to capture all your work.
I mean, that's what my album is right now. True. It's a short playlist of things that I've done. Before
I'm just thinking if you do like a random single for like an artist or whatever, like just putting all that kind of stuff together.
Yeah, that'll happen for sure. Like, if I give somebody something, they put it out, I can always create my own playlist and be like, this is some other stuff that I've done for sure. Yeah.
Cool. Yeah. Are you doing any deep dive on the analytics to see like what kind of stuff people are listening to or where they're listening from or anything like that? Like I always geek out about all the numbers. I'm always checking everything.
I get as far as DistroKid will let me go, as far as like the stats on, where people are listening to the music, which has been Apple Music.
Yeah.
Most of the people that listen to my music are listening on Apple Music.
Okay.
I don't try to get too worried about that. I'm focused on the music. I know if I make good music, then, eventually people will listen to it.
Yeah. What would you say has been sort of your biggest struggle, whether that be personal, if you want to share that, or just struggle as an artist, along the way?
Discipline, maybe.
Discipline.
Yeah. Trying to stay disciplined and, just work. And, besides that, it would be like letting people take advantage of what I'm willing to do.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like I said, I've created all these projects for these artists and never got nothing for it, and then was unappreciated for it at the end of the day too. Mm-hmm. So I feel like I spent a lot of time working with people who didn't really appreciate it. You know what I mean? And that held me back. I mean, I stopped doing it because of that. Like I went 6-7 years without even thinking about music because I had a daughter I had to take care of.
Yeah.
And, just nothing was working out. And in my mind, I'm like, as soon as this stuff does work out, then we're all going to eat.
Right.
But, nobody was pushing it the way I was pushing it. Nobody was on the same page as me as far as the music goes. So that would be the biggest thing that held me back. I stopped doing music for a while.
Yeah. So you mentioned 2 jobs, right? So a lot of people probably don't know the behind the scenes struggle, the dedication.
Yeah.
When are you working on these projects? It's probably a lot of late nights, a lot of weekends. You probably have to like give up a lot of like fun, just like hanging out with friends, stuff like that, right?
Yeah, I don't have friends. I don't have
no friends.
I have acquaintances.
Yeah.
I work my job in the morning. I get off around 2:00. I go home, mix and master a song, or I start working on the beat, and I have to be right back at work at 5:00. And so I try to take my days off and just block that out for music.
Okay.
And then when I get off work, I probably don't go to sleep until 2 or 3 o'clock, just being up on music, and have to be right back up at 5 or 6, depending on what job I got to do that day.
That's the dedication, right? A lot of people don't know that. A lot of people, I'm sure you get the must be nice, right? Must be nice, but they don't know, like, hey, you're up till 3 in the morning,
man,
right?
Yeah, it's not easy. Yeah. It's not easy. But, like I said, I need to work on my dedicate or or my self-discipline to make it happen on my own.
Yeah.
Because I've realized that I can't depend on nobody else to do it. You know what I mean? It's all on me.
Yeah.
And that's the thing about producers in Oklahoma. Like, if you want to get that recognition, you're gonna have to put the work in and get out there in front of the people. So many producers are, behind the scenes and kind of introverted. Like, I'm very introverted. Yeah. So I'm not the one to go out to parties and be trying to shake everybody's hand and let people know what I do. I have to either depend on the artist to do that for me, or I have to, man up and go do it myself.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
Have you ever gone to any music festivals or clubs or anything and say, hey, this is my project, do you want to check it out? Or even a radio station, something like that?
No, I am talking to the radio station now about trying to get Thug on the radio.
Okay.
I feel like the radio needs that song.
Yeah,
I ain't
for
gonna
sure.
lie. We need to hear that in rotation. But I have plans to do that. I want to go to South by Southwest next time it happens next year. But yeah, anything I can afford to get to, then yeah, for sure. I'm definitely trying to get out there and put it out. Cause that's getting on this podcast, getting on other podcasts. I feel like people are listening to podcasts more than they are radio stations now.
For sure. Yeah.
I want to get, out there on my own as much as I possibly can. So yeah.
Yeah, that's cool. And the cool thing about the day that we live in today is everybody could be listening from any part of the world, right?
Yeah.
You're not limited to a radio station,
right?
Just that radius, right, where the signal goes.
Right.
You never know. Your biggest fans are probably strangers you've never met, right?
Exactly. Yeah. And that I feel like that too. There's a lot of complaining about people don't support you locally, but if you let that stop you, then you're forgetting about the 7 billion other people that exist.
Yeah.
And with the internet, you can reach them. All you have to do is sponsor a little $5 post to play your shit in Atlanta or New York or Brazil or wherever the hell you want us to go to.
For sure.
And there's no excuses at this point. Like, if you want it, you can go get it.
How do you stay creative? That's always a question, right? Because I think if you surround yourself with too much, then maybe you start mimicking some of the sounds, right?
Yeah.
So I don't know if it's better to just kind of stay zoned in, ignore all the noise, or get inspired. You tell me. What's your preference?
I've been listening. I listen to the radio because it is gonna let you know what's popular and what's hot. So I try to stay up on that. As far as being creative, I might hear a new song and then want to sample it, or the drill music that's happening right now, Ice Spice, which is another artist I would love to work with.
Cool.
She's doing this drill thing out of New York, and I can put my own spin on drill music because there's a certain hi-hat pattern, and how the 808 slide up and down. I can do it my own way and put my own maybe soul sample behind the drill pattern and then figure it out. So it's just trying different things, different samples from different genres of music, soundtracks. There's this one producer, $130 who he'll go to a movie soundtrack and pull a sample of an orchestra or something. And yeah, he's an Oklahoma producer too.
That's cool.
Yeah, and
are you ever just driving around or maybe grabbing lunch somewhere and you hear a random song in the background and you're I got to find that song. I got a sample that. Has that ever happened to you?
I Shazam all day.
You Shazam all day?
I'll do that for sure. I'll be in a restaurant and hear something. I go to Mama Z's restaurant, the African or Nigerian cuisine on 16th, and they might have a YouTube channel going that's nothing but Nigerian music.
Okay.
And I'll hear something that I want to sample. Or even random sounds. I was in my room the other day, and the birds chirping in the backyard was cool to me, the way it sounded. So I pulled my phone out and recorded that, and you might hear that in the track soon.
Okay.
Yeah, so
that's cool.
I just try to pull inspiration wherever I can.
Yeah. Do you have a lot stored kind of in a bank, a lot of beats? And how big is your library so far? Or is it just on the fly you're coming up with stuff?
Yeah, well, with me being an engineer, I don't really have as much time dedicated to making beats.
Okay.
So I'm more, trying to book artists. If you ever need studio time, hit me up on my Instagram, Loudmouf Beats, Loudmouf Beats, and I can get you in the studio. But that's really been my main focus, is getting people's music sounding the way it needs to be sounding.
Yeah.
Because I feel like I have a talent for that, for listening to something and picking different bars and EQing them different ways and, just making the song sound interesting.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I see where a lot of artists have voice notes where they just hum a melody or something.
Yeah, I've done that plenty of times.
Have you done that too?
Yeah.
If someone had a voice note, they're hey, I like this idea. Could you make that into an actual beat?
I could. Yeah.
Okay.
It's easier to do it when somebody's like, hey, I can pay you to do this beat real quick. But for me, like, I can do that. Like, I'll be at work sometime and the melody will come to me and I'll try to hum it out into my phone. But then by the time I get home, maybe the inspiration's gone.
Man.
You know what I mean? Like, I might not be feeling like I want to make a beat that day. Like, some producers, they can make 5 to 10 beats a day. I've never been that type of producer. You know what I mean? Like, it's just about how I feel that day. I might go 2-3 weeks without making a beat.
Yeah.
Like I said, I went 5-6 years without making a beat.
That's crazy, because usually when people take a break like that, they never come back.
Yeah.
You know, people give up on their dreams oftentimes and do that, right?
I just can't work for anybody else for the rest of my life.
Yeah.
I don't see that happening. You know, like, I respect my managers for sure. But it's just about doing something because somebody else needs me to do it. I'd rather be on my own schedule.
Right. And it's not your passion, right?
Exactly. Music is definitely my passion.
That's your passion, right?
Yeah. Hell yeah.
I like that. So tell me, you know, when you do sort of like have a deadline and you have to like come up with the beat, are you able to spark up that inspiration? Because to me, I would struggle with that, right? Like if I have a deadline and I'm not feeling it, I don't know how I would go about that.
Well, most of the time they'll send me a YouTube beat. Okay. They'll send me something that's already made, and I just need to know the key and that tempo, and then I can create my own. I can listen to that beat enough times where I know the pattern of when the drums came in and when, you know, a counter melody came in, and I just do something similar, and then I can crank those beats out all day. But when it comes to me making my own beats just off the top, like, you know, I might have to go to YouTube and get inspired that way, or I might have to go through some old music on my phone and remember what I listened to back when I was in elementary school and try to find inspiration there. Like, but if somebody is coming to me like, I need this done in 2 days, it's going to be done in 2 days for sure.
Cool. Do you ever go to like just like random like record shops and just like see if you can find an old sample and a vinyl record or anything like that?
No. I mean, no. My record shopping is going to YouTube.
Okay.
There's a YouTube page, a dude named Andre Navarro or something like that, and he'll upload an old song, like a 70s, 80s, or 60s, a foreign song, something in France, or like just all these different types of sounds. And I listen to that channel all the time. So I'll just find something from there and I'll sample something that way. But yeah, I don't have a record player, so I can't. Cool. Yeah, but yeah, for sure. I'm always looking for something.
Awesome. So we are getting the signal here that we're running out of time. But before we do that, I want to give you, you know, your sort of the stage, plug in your socials. Yeah. What's the best way to find you? You know, plug in the project that just dropped too. So go ahead, plug everything.
Okay, for sure. Yeah, it's my Instagram is the only thing I need you to care about.
No TikTok, no website, nothing.
No. Just go to my Instagram and I'll build it from there. Okay. And it's at Loudmouf Beats, Loudmouf Beats. With an S at the end. No C.
Okay, cool. And you were mentioning a potential like contest,
right?
I
want to do something for the Maverick Podcast listeners. So if you go to my Instagram, you can go to my link in my bio, and you can find my music video for Up for Grabs, which is on the album Loudmouf Radio Volume 1. Go there, and if you need mixing and mastering, drop a comment on the video. Just put Maverick.
Cool.
And then I'll find you, and I'll go probably like a week. I'll draw a winner, and I'll give you one song free mixing and mastering.
Man, that's awesome.
Yeah. So if you have a song idea and you just hurting on money when it comes to trying to get it recorded, because that's what I find people have an issue with is people charge so much at the studio. I'm doing a deal right now, $25 an hour, $25 to mix and master your song.
Cool.
$25 also to remake a YouTube beat. So you can get an original song from me under $100. But right now, for the listeners, if you go to my Up for Grabs music video, comment Maverick right here.
There we go.
And I'll pick a winner. I like
that. That's going to be a cool little contest for everybody. So definitely want to thank you, man. I appreciate your grind. Yeah. I'm super excited. I have no doubt you're going to have super success. Like all your stuff, when I was listening to it, like it's a vibe. I liked your project.
Thank you, man.
I listened to the whole thing. And like I said, the bass was tearing up my speakers in the car. So it sounded real good. Yeah.
I appreciate that, man. Yeah, I take pride in that for sure.
Cool. All right, there you have it. Ladies and gentlemen, the super talented Loudmouf Beats.
Loudmouf Beats.
On the Maverick Podcast. Keep grinding because in dreams, we trust.
Yes, sir.